Now to, if we change our focus to a speech the Prime Minister is giving tomorrow, still on national security. We're not expecting any further detail of the Defence Strategic Review. What's your anticipation as to what we can expect from the Prime Minister?
Well, as you know, Kieran, I think Albanese, Miles and Wong have done a terrific job on national security so far. And I think the Prime Minister should offer his rationale for his whole approach. And I argue in a column in the paper today that if he argues this case convincingly and delivers what he's promised in defence capability, then he stands in the tradition of John Curtin and Bob Hawke, and he will socialise the Labor Party anew into the necessity of the US alliance and the importance of the Australian Defence Force. The coalition socialised its supporters into the necessity of the US alliance, but they totally neglected the Australian Defence Force, and that part of the consensus has fallen away. And similarly, Labor's consensus, which was built up so magnificently by Bob Hawke and Kim Beazley, has also started to fall away. It's easier for an Albanese government with a Democrat like Joe Biden in the White House, but I'm looking for a big picture. There'll probably be a couple of announceables in it, but I'm looking for a big picture, why his government is doing what it's doing. And this is in a fantastic social democratic tradition. You know, the German Social Democrats have announced that they're doubling defence spending. No one is keener than the Greens' German foreign minister to send aid to Ukraine. So Albanese needs to be self-confident and forthright. Everything he's doing is in Australia's national interest, and it sits well within Labor tradition.
And finally, Greg, at the weekend I reported that there are 18 chapters in that Defence Strategic Review, one of them entirely on the defence personnel crisis, both uniformed and in the production line of our defence hardware. That's something that they've known for a long time. The Deputy Prime Minister calls it a crisis, the personnel issue. He's said that previously. What else are you expecting out of the Defence Strategic Review from what you're hearing, and how soon will we get all the details?
Well, I think it'll be within a matter of weeks at the most. I believe that they're teeing up a time for Albanese, Sunak and Biden to get together in Washington to make the big AUKUS subs announcement. But to focus for a second on the matter that you've revealed, Kieran, the personnel and skills crisis, that is absolutely critical. A lot of the most important things in the Defence Strategic Review are not inherently sexy, like hardening the bases in the Northern Territory so that they can't all be wiped out with a preemptive Chinese missile strike. We do have a crisis in uniformed personnel. I think the Defence Department's recruitment strategies are insane. You know, they say join the Australian Defence Force because of our social equity policies, whereas in fact you're only willing to risk your life if you believe in a transcendent purpose, the defence of Australia. But also right across the board, we have really inadequate manufacturing capabilities. You know, 3 years ago we announced that we were going to build a missile manufacturing industry. Not a sod of earth has been turned towards that end. Defence often offers the excuse that it's hamstrung by a whole lot of silly laws and regulations. Well, if that's the case, then the government should reform all those laws and regulations straight away. But this sort of back-end stuff, you can't do anything in the military space if you don't have logistics, spare parts, ammunitions. You know, the Morrison government announced it was getting long-range anti-ship missiles, and I inquired how many, and the answer was 200. Well, that's a ridiculous amount. You know, that wouldn't keep you going for a day and a half of combat. And after that, they never again announced the number of missiles in any category they were getting. So I think this is a critical area, personnel and logistics.
Indeed, and some stockpiles. We've been reminded of the need for that out of Ukraine. That's for certain. Greg Sheridan, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it as always.